Welcome back to the podcast, Catch It, A New Perception. My name is Ketuk. As we wrap up this season, we're going to finish up season 13 this week, and next week we're looking at beginning season 14 after the spring equinox. And I think about how I begin things or how I end things, how things open up in my life, new beginnings. And I think of one of them specifically about being gifted cancer recently and being able to be gifted some chemotherapy and the things that I've been gifted since then. I remember at one point in my life looking at things in a more pessimistic point of view. And I say that because I think I'm more optimistic and realistic than before. And people try to say they're realistic sometimes with a pessimist point of view. And I think that I have an optimistic point of view and also am a realist. And one of the reasons I'm a realist with an optimistic point of view is the fact that I want to see the best in things, in you, in me, in a situation, in life, at work, whatever it might be, in a specific relationship. I want to speak of it like I see the best and then watch that happen. So it becomes a realistic point of view sometimes because we can speak it into existence. And when I say that, I say it from a point of view of learning to understand things different or see them different. I once would have thought that I have some bad luck. I don't run that well, some people may say. Or there's certain things about a situation where I don't get the best results out of it. And then I flip the script. And I've talked about that before. I probably even have an episode called Flip the Script. And I talk about the idea that I can say it in a different way. And when I say it in a different way, then all of a sudden the reality becomes different. Sometimes it's my perception. And I've probably pointed this out, the difference, at least at one time. I know that the words are beginning to change with each generation or within a couple generations. Sometimes words take on new meanings. And I think of the word perception, and it has to do with the mind. Perspective is geometry. And that is becoming the word that perception once was. It seems like in society. And my perception continues to change. And it probably changes because of the fact that I'm doing this podcast. It probably changes because I've interacted with many of you people that listen to this podcast. I've had conversations with people who want to change their life, so my perception will continue to change. And one of those perceptions that's different is I sometimes will say, I'm the luckiest man alive. And I've said that. I'm the luckiest man I know. And I said it to somebody one time, and he said, are you talking about me? He said, how are you feeling? I said, I'm the luckiest man alive. Are you talking about me? He said. I said, I probably am. Therefore, I'm the second luckiest man alive. And it was really cool for me to be able to see it that way in that moment. And I am the luckiest man alive in my life at any given moment because of some of the things that I've survived. Cancer, for one. And I probably made that statement before I ever had cancer, actually. I remember saying it to that guy, and I did not know I had cancer yet. I probably already did have it. I was just unaware of it. And one of the reasons I'm the luckiest man alive today that I know is because of the way that I see the world. And some people will say the harder you work, the luckier you get. The harder you work, the luckier you are. Maybe. Do I work hard to change my mindset? To change the way that I think? I have. I've put a lot of work into it. This month, it has been 36 years I have worked on getting to know my higher self. And I get luckier every year. I'm not talking about just being gifted the breath of life today. I'm talking about a big picture of changing that terminology into realizing how lucky I am, how lucky I've been, the things I've been gifted. I talk about being gifted cancer. I talk about being gifted chemotherapy. I talk about being gifted the breath of life, gifted sight. These are gifts that I've been given. They may be through the Creator, they may be through you, they may be through someone else, they may come in many different ways. If they are gifts, therefore I am lucky to receive that gift. Or possibly I am fortunate. And the reason I say that, I remember getting into a bike accident. The last time I went down on my bike, I believe, was in 2007, so it's been pushing 20 years since the last time I hit the pavement on my motorcycle, is what I'm referring to. And at rather high rates of speed, I've hit the pavement a few times, 70 plus miles an hour, 50 to 60 miles an hour once. And so what I realized is that, yes, in those situations, I have been lucky. I think it was when I hit a car and ended up going down on my motorcycle at about 50 or 60 miles an hour one time. I flew up over the car. The bike stopped where it was. I got some trajectory up over the vehicle that pulled out in front of me that I broadsided. And I was talking about that experience. And I was talking about being fortunate. Because someone said, wow, you sure are lucky. And I said, I am. I'm lucky. I think I'm fortunate. Because fortunate knows that I've been gifted grace also. So with this idea of being lucky and also being gifted grace, I realize that I am fortunate. And I'm fortunate because I've made the best out of some of the worst situations in my life. Don't get me wrong, there are times where I have had a very good situation and I made the worst of it because I don't know how to make decisions. I make poor decisions. I act on something. I react to something. I don't always make the best decisions in my life up to this point. I make better decisions than I ever have. That creates fortune. I put myself around different people than I used to. That creates a fortune in my life. Okay, so I am fortunate. And when I say that, I get that I do feel like I'm lucky sometimes because I have been gifted a new way of thinking, that I am a lucky man, that I'm a fortunate person. I have the ability to be able to see the world different than I once did. These are things that I have been gifted. So if I've been gifted them, then I need to be grateful for them also. I can't take them for granted. I have probably mentioned this before. I recently learned that on the same neural pathway of where anxiety runs, on that neural pathway, gratitude runs. So you can't experience and feel gratitude and anxiety at the same time. You may be able to think about gratitude while you have anxiety, but you have to bring it in and bring it to that neural pathway, bring it into the system, and therefore they can't exist simultaneously. So if you have some anxiety and you want to be able to allow that to dissipate, bring some gratitude into your life and realize what you're grateful for. They cannot exist at the same time because that same neural pathway that they run on. The day that you do that, you will be fortunate. You will be gifted something that you've received and you were able to take it in, and you're a lucky man or a lucky woman or a lucky person because you're able to take that in when somebody gifted it to you. And then you become fortunate because you have worked more than one thing into it. And I believe that that's a really good way to go about seeing the world, seeing ourselves, seeing other people, realizing I'm grateful for people in my life, conversations I have. The first time I talked to you, it changed the way that I thought. I'm very fortunate to have that conversation with you. Oh, the last time I talked to you, wow, it really brightened my day. It got me to smile. I can't help but to think about that conversation for how long. And maybe it will always be with me until the next time I have a conversation with you. I'm fortunate that I can see it that way. I need to be able to find a way to be able to continue to change the way that I think. So I will continue to change the way that I feel. Even though I feel good most of the time, I feel lucky, I feel fortunate, I feel grateful. I have all kinds of positive things in my life. The thing is, if I don't continue to strive for more, I will settle. And when I settle for nothing. I can't do that. I need to not settle for just okay. And I think about the job that I have. I've been working there now 35 years as a frontline employee, and I work in the entertainment business. And through this process, what I realize is that, yes, without arrogance, I would say I'm pretty good at what I do. That's why I've been able to do it for 35 years. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do it for that long. So yes, I'm good. Would I say I'm better than other people? Probably not. Are there aspects of what I do that at times I'm as good as anyone out there? Yes, that's true. You see, if I figure that I have certain things that I can improve on where I work after being there for 35 years, then I can continue to get better. Because if I am satisfied with where I'm at, I'm settling, and I settle for nothing. I don't want to do that to myself. So what I'm learning is that I could do the same thing when I realize that I'm fortunate, that I'm lucky. I'm fortunate to be able to have today. I'm fortunate to be able to do this podcast. I'm fortunate to be able to have you as my friend. I'm fortunate to be able to have myself as a friend, to be able to internalize what's real and realize that what I'm doing is good for me, to be able to reach outside of myself and reach out to someone else, say something that allows them to smile, say something that allows someone to feel fortunate. I know that I have much to learn, and I need to concern myself with how I learn things. Do I learn them through gratitude? Do I learn them through disdain? Do I learn them through realizing I'm lucky, I'm fortunate? Or do I learn them because I'm angry? Do I learn through love, compassion, intimacy? I had a conversation with a brother the other day, just before we started a ceremony. And the conversation was a really intimate, good conversation. And it was really cool to see where he was at and just to be in that spot with him and have that intimate conversation. And somehow I felt like the whole script got flipped. He said to me, he said, "I've learned so much from you." He said, "Everything that you face it with grace," implying dignity. It was amazing. I didn't know I was going to be gifted something like that day. Even in the middle or towards the end of that conversation, I didn't see it coming. I had that conversation to bring him comfort, and he brought me comfort. I am a fortunate, fortunate man. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world. Dok Shao, okay?